Okay, so just getting started here. This is the first ever of my new workshop series that I'm launching as a candidate for Miss New Jersey. My name is Selena Estock. I am Miss Pinelands 2025. I'm real excited. So we have a little bit to cover tonight. It's not going to be too much, just basic overview of kind of what my project is and some cycle awareness tips. I do have some notes on my phone here, so if you see me looking away, that's what I've got. I'm just figuring out the Canvas software. So we're going to get started and it shouldn't be too long. So just first off, starting just here, my name is Selena, like I said, I'm Miss Pinelands and Thrive for Life. The topic today is understanding your cycle and empowering your health. So for the next slide, just an outline of everything we're going to cover. We'll just talk about a little intro to cycle awareness, how you can go about tracking your cycle, the types of things that maybe differ from cycle awareness and just regular cycle tracking, what my project is, and how you can stay connected. So first, we're going to talk about what cycle awareness is and why it's relevant to you in your life. So a general definition would be that cycle awareness is a holistic, science-informed method of understanding your hormonal patterns, identifying health concerns, and embracing reproductive autonomy. With that being said, there's a lot to love about it. Cycle awareness, it's absolutely the future of women's health, especially because it puts the power back in your hands. If you know everything that there is to know about your body and the patterns that you have, it's a lot easier to address things with a medical provider. So we'll just talk about the four phases of your menstrual cycle, and it's really easy to think about these and remember them if you think about them like seasons. So menstruation would be your inner winter. That's the one we're all very familiar with. It's also known as your period. Estrogen is at its lowest. You're not really functioning at your best. It's best to reschedule big projects during this time. And even if you can't, I know as a busy woman, it's hard to put life on hold just because you're on your period, but you can give yourself a little bit more grace during this time and tracking it and knowing where you're at can help you to do that. Make more time for intentional rest. And in your follicular phase, which is like your inner spring, energy is increasing, you have a lot more of it, and you're climbing towards your peak. So you're not quite at your peak yet, but now would be the time to start doing more HIIT workouts, being more social, trying new things. It's a great time to plan. It's where I'm at right now. So that's why I'm getting all these new things accomplished. I'm real excited about it. And then we'll go on to the third phase, which is ovulation. And this is your peak phase. You are the main character in your ovulation phase, if you want to remember it like that. This is your time to say yes to as many things as you can. Your serotonin and your dopamine are up for sure, and it's easy for you to accomplish things in this phase. And then finally, your luteal phase, it's like your inner fall, things are winding down. You're going back towards, it's a cycle, so you're going back towards the winter again. And your estrogen is at its lowest. This is when PMS symptoms tend to show up, and you're not really that motivated. But listen to your body. Everyone's different. These are really general overviews. I mean, I don't find that I necessarily follow these to a T, and it does depend cycle to cycle. So definitely listen to your body and do what you can. Okay, so what cycle awareness looks like in your life, because there's a lot of different definitions of it online. It's very trendy now to talk about eating maybe only strawberries in your follicular phase, or, I only do this exercise. But like I said, it's a very personalized thing. This is your cycle and it's your body, and everyone's different. But here's what it might look like in your life. It could mean adjusting your workout routine to suit your changing energy levels. Or maybe it's planning meals that will support your varying hormone needs, like comforting foods during your menstrual phase or fresh light foods in your ovulation season. It also could be planning work or large projects around energy peaks and valleys, like this workshop during my follicular phase instead of trying to do it during my luteal phase. And also making time for intentional rest. Like I said, even if you can't take a break from everything, as ambitious women, we have a lot of things that we need to accomplish every day that unfortunately, you can't just not do them. But if you're intentional about resting, it can definitely be beneficial to know your body's cues. And that kind of goes into the last one here. Becoming more in tune with your body's cues, knowing what's normal for you and how that's going to vary, you can be a lot more prepared to deal with peaks and valleys in your energy. So, on to our second topic here, which might be the most interesting for you. How are you actually going to go about cycle tracking? How do you go beyond just tracking your period in your everyday life without it being overwhelming and going to the point of only eating strawberries during 1 week of the month? So there's two main ways that you could track your cycle. There's the digital way, which is favorable because it's really accessible and I mean, your phone's always with you. So And when you're observing symptoms throughout the day, it takes a lot less preparation. You just have it in your pocket all the time. I use my phone for mine because, again, it's really easy for me. I like that I don't have to remember anything. But I also do enjoy a paper calendar, and I actually use that as more of a reflective at the end of the day. After I've tracked everything digitally, I like to go back and practice mindfulness and reflect on my symptoms and how I'm feeling. And I find that I remember those types of patterns a lot better when I do it twice, but that's just me. And stay tuned for a paper planner. By the way, I should mention this. I am working on my own cycle tracking journal based on what I've liked about ones that I've used before and maybe ones that I haven't liked so much. So I am working on my own. Stay up to date with that on my social media, which I'll announce at the end how you can follow me there. So here's a couple of examples of what kind of things that you could track. Obviously, there's the basics, when your period begins, what the flow of your period is like, any symptoms you have, cramps, headaches, how long your cycle is lasting. Like for me, I can say that the average is about 29 days right now, but I do have an irregular period, so that tends to fluctuate a little bit for me. It really is more than just your period, which is what we've always been taught to track. Again, mood fluctuations you could track, and if you want to really get into it, you could do fertility symptoms like cervical mucus, your temperature, and the cervical position if you wanted to pinpoint exactly when you're ovulating, which even if, fertility isn't really a concern for you right now, or maybe you're a little bit younger, by the time you're in your 20s, it is good to know when you're ovulating specifically because, again, if you're trying to cycle sync your workouts or your life, it's good to know exactly what phase you're in. And other than a period, the ovulation is the easiest to really figure out and kind of determines when you're in the other phases. So, yeah, it could also be practicing mindfulness with nutrition, like I said, doing different workouts in different times, or even tracking your sleep. That plays a really big role in your cycle and just your health in general. So, looking forward to what the Thrive for Life project is. What is the goal? How are we going to get there? So, the goal is to, as the next Miss New Jersey, help women to implement cycle awareness and take control of their health, which is something that I've already done with 400 women through my newsletter, a national radio program, and partnerships with organizations like Newborns in Need, which is a wonderful organization. They're doing a lot of wonderful things. And I'm going to reach my goal of helping as many women as I can by publishing that cycles tracking journal that I was talking about before, continuing to do cycle syncing workout series on my YouTube. So you should subscribe for that and get ready for that. And expanding my digital outreach through workshops just like this on the fourth Friday of every month, and also a digital book club. So stay tuned for that too. It's very exciting. If you have any recommendations, definitely post them in my Facebook group. So here's just a couple of pictures of me, Thrive for Life in action. Got me being crowned at Miss New Jersey orientation. Got some, I was helping with a cookie decorating event in Burlington Lyceum. There's me with Newborns in Need, and a picture of me with all those donuts at JB Bakery, who very generously hosted my women's wellness drive. And then here are just a couple ways just to wrap things up, how you can join the community and stay involved with Thrive for Life. So here's kind of basic overview of everything. Obviously, my new workout workshop series, which you're here for, once a month online, probably the first Friday of every, or the fourth Friday of every month, sorry. And subscribing to my newsletter on my website. That's a great resource. It's basically everything that we're talking about today, but it's just a text version. I like to share a cycle syncing recipe in there too, so you get a lot of little benefits from that. And joining my Facebook group, Thrive for Life, is also good. If you're on Facebook, there's all these different women in there will share videos and just all these different media things and really anything about our Thrive for Life cycle syncing journey. Checking out my webpage, like I said, I'm going to put all these links below right before we end things today. Follow my social media, Instagram, TikTok at Selena Ballerina, and getting ready for my workout series on YouTube, which is again Selena Ballerina, but with two A's. And then here's just everything that these are all those pages I just mentioned. Just so you know what they look like, don't go following someone else. And then waiting for that cycle syncing stuff on there. Okay, so I will put the links below. And that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thrive for Life is all about education, resources, and community. Together we can thrive for life. So join the movement today on Facebook, on my website, and I'm going to post everything below. If we don't have any questions, that is all I have for you today. So let me just get back here to the meeting room. Of course, my light died halfway through. I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so since there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this recording and I'll put all the links in the chat before we finish up here today. Thank you so much for coming. It was really great to present this to all of you. I'm really excited for all the things that I have planned and stay in touch. Thank you.